Hello everyone. We've got a celebrity on the bench today, or at least a celebrity doppelganger. You might recognize this case as being the same as LGR's famous woodgrain 486. I also have a personal connection to this case because I used to have one way back in the day, back in the 90s. And that was like my primary hacking platform, learning how to take apart systems and upgrade them. Took it from a 386 all the way up to an AMD K62 throughout those years. Although I remember it being much bigger. Maybe it was because I was smaller. Well, that case was long lost to time. It didn't survive my teenage years. But now it's back, and it's mine forever. So let's get into it and see what's inside. And talk about old school homey nostalgia triggers. This thing's been giving me more flashbacks than the XT. And the first thing that jumps out at me is this Pionex badge. I've had one Pionex system on the channel before, and a few people in the comments did recognize the brand. So I guess they were somewhat of a big thing in the early to mid 90s. Though I find it especially fascinating that they chose this case, because I'm pretty sure this is just an off-the-shelf, random, unbranded case. I guess they were quite a small outfit. And of course we have our 3-digit LED display there. Got our reset and turbo buttons. And a keyboard lock, for which I have no key, but it doesn't really matter. And a real ka-chunk power switch. This is an AT system after all, so that's an actual mains disconnecting switch, with mains voltage run right to it. And something about that floppy drive doesn't seem quite right. Like I can't push the door in. Probably got some issues there. We have a very generic looking CD-ROM drive. Looks like it could be a Sony, but it is very much unbranded. And I do have this missing drive blank here. It's rattling around in there. Gonna have to recover that, but thankfully still exists. And gotta say, I couldn't be happier with the condition of the face. There's really no major issues at all. These blemishes will clean right up, but we'll get to that later. And here's a look at the back. Standard issue AT system. I like how none of the port covers have been punched out. This thing's fresh. We do have some signs of trauma though, right here. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out how that happened. So that was a very directed blow, because we have one of those breakout shields with a serial port and stuff on it. Right here, it's just been pushed in there. And the sound card's line-in jack is broken. Looks like the modem got hit a little bit too, but it's not really that worse for the wear. Yet this slot here seems unscathed. I'm trying to, how on earth did that happen? Hopefully nothing's too broken. This is the I/O card. It's got the hard drive and floppy controllers and everything. This was before that stuff was included on a motherboard. And here is, I guess, some Pionex paraphernalia. Got an FCC ID and a serial number. No decipherable date codes though. Alright, let's get this thing open. Alright, got all the screws de-screwed. Let's get in this thing. Oh man, that sound brings back memories. Man, what is going on in here? It looks like somebody chose violence. First off, somebody annihilated that floppy drive. That's the head sticking up there. And the drive cage got decaged. I don't even know how that's supposed to go back together. Looks like it's a spot weld there. What is up with this? And they cut some power supply connectors, as well as one of the front panel connectors. I think somebody just raged on this thing. And apparently they were beating on the hard drive too. So it looks like they were smacking it with a screwdriver. Hopefully they didn't damage it, because it looks like a Western Digital Caviar. And quite an old one. Guess we'll start with taking that out. Somebody smacked the IDE cable. And what's that? I guess it's part of the cable. If I remember correctly, this entire drive cage comes out. And it's like the size of the power supply for some reason. There we go. And looks like more bad news. It's one of retro computing's most notorious foes, the Varta battery. And it has leaked. It's hard to tell how bad it is right now, but maybe we can fix it. Let's start getting all these cables out of here. Guess I'll clear this breakout shield out since it seems all up in the way. Actually, you can just bend that right back. Good as new. Oh, except that part. I'll fix that later. Alright, and this is a VLB board, socket 3, and that's one crazy looking graphics card. Let's get that out of there. Cirrus Logic GD5428, VLB of course. And I guess these are video RAM modules? They're pretty big. Seems like it. This thing looks pretty beastly for its era. VGA-A3CK2, if that means anything to anyone. Looks quite nice. I bet that thing can run some Doom. Now onto the I/O card. This is the hard drive LED. Standard issue VLB I/O controller. Looks like whatever hothead was in here before mangled the floppy drive connector. That's easy, you can straighten those pins, no problem. So I'm glad these two cards aren't damaged, because they're quite nice to have. Alright, let's see what condition that sound card is in. Okay, doesn't look like the damage is too extensive, or as far as I can see. I have to get that mangled jack off there to confirm. Seems like the board has a bow in it. I'm not sure if that's from the violence committed upon it or it's just like that. But it is Crystal CS4248-KL. We've got real Yamaha OPL3 sound. So this is definitely worth fixing. We'll come back to that. And last but not least, the dial-up modem. "8-bit ISA from Cirrus Logic." Not sure of the speed, it's not obvious. And I see some corrosion on that edge connector. Not the greatest sign, being the closest to that battery. Don't like it. And here's the other end of that cable that they cut off the front panel. This is actually the power LED for that 7-segment LED display. So of course they'd hit that. This actually should just connect to a little Molex splitter. At least that'll be an easy fix. Actually connected straight to the power supply. Like built in. That's kind of crazy. So I have to sort that out, because that power supply has some rage damage too. Let's get that CD audio cable out of there. And here's our missing drive blank. Thankfully it's not broken. Both the clips look okay. And I see our CPU cache chips are all present. That's these right here. They're also using 72-pin SIM modules. So this must be a spicy little system, considering the video and sound card. This might have been somebody's 90s gaming machine. That's funny, it's compact RAM. I guess somebody harvested it. I don't see old Pionex doing that. Let's get this power supply disconnected. Thankfully those pins aren't corroded. That's an encouraging sign. Okay, I'd like to see what kind of CPU we have. Problem is, it has a bonded heatsink, and that ain't coming off. So we'll have to check the bottom of the chip, see if there's any clues on there. And I can already tell that's going to be one of those impossible to remove levers. How do they expect human beings to do this? Yeah, I'm going to have to get the chip lifter. The miracle tool of the channel. It's like nothing it can't do. Okay, so I see I66. I'm going to assume Intel 486DX2 at 66 megahertz, because it sure looks like an Intel chip. And I don't imagine AMD is going to put an I on their chips. Not sure what the rest of those digits mean. But yeah, good chance it's 486DX2. Now let's check out our RAM. So this one doesn't have compact stickers all over it. but it looks like an identical module, identical to the one below it. Check that out. Yeah, they're the same. Oh, well, no, not the same, but very similar. Looks like 16 megs each, so 32 megabytes. We'll see. Now let's get that front panel disconnected. So we can pull this motherboard. Well, the screw came out, that's a good sign. It's not corroded in there. And even though this is an AT case, it does not have a removable motherboard tray. Sometimes you have to remove the drive cage, but let's see if I can finagle that out without doing that. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, it looks like we definitely need trace repair, at least as far as I can tell. Let's get that battery off. Let's just go ahead and knock some of that corrosion off and see what we're working with, using a Dremel and a rubber polishing bit. Yeah, we're missing a good number of traces there, and that's just on this side. Let's see what we got on the other side. Man, that looks kind of worse. Let's try and knock some of that off. And yeah, we're pretty traceless on this side too. There's quite a lot of rework to be done here, and I always try to do them, but they always end up taking way longer than I expected. But I guess let's give it a try. First, let's get all these chips off. Now I want to neutralize any remaining battery electrolyte, and we do that with a mix of distilled vinegar and water, like 20% concentration, give or take. Just work that in. Fortunately, it doesn't look like it got far. And I'll let that work in, and I'll do the other side, get the board cleaned up and dried, so we can get started. Okay, here we are under the microscope. And this seems like a reasonable place to start. And we'll just get some flux on those traces, then proceed to tin them up with some solder. It's okay to make a bloody mess here. We'll clean it up later. Now let's take a strand of copper wire that I pre-tinned and get it connected. This strand is probably way too thick for these fine traces, but let's see how it goes. And let's give that some bends to follow the original trace. Then go up the line. And I'm just going to anchor it here on this little piece of remaining trace. Let's just flux it up some more. And I like to run repair wires through the vias in the board. Problem is, they're sometimes plugged up with shmoo, corrosion, and whatnot, so I use this teeny tiny drill bit to clean those out. There we go. Now let's just thread that wire through the via to the other side of the board. And here we are on the other side. And And I'll just terminate on this joint here. Okay, I completed the rest of the repairs off camera. And to speed things up, I switched to magnet wire, also known as enamel wire, just because I'm crunched for time and there's so many little fine traces. If you don't know, enamel wire is a type of wire that has a very thin coating of insulation. So even though this trace jambalaya right here looks like they're all shorting out, but they're actually insulated. And you'll be happy to know that the other side looks even worse. Yeah, I still got some flux to clean up, and then I'll do the solder mask thing, but first let's make sure this thing works. And yes, I will tidy up around the screw holes. Okay, now let's do a little pre-test and see if anything explodes. And this time I'm not being hyperbolic. These tantalum capacitors could actually explode. That's kind of their thing. And I got that video card connected, so we'll be testing that, assuming the motherboard works. Got that whole ISA and VLB slot all deoxed. So let's see. Oh, yeah, it's counting RAM. All right, so it at least lives. Big question is, does the keyboard work? Oh, yes. Think we did it. And it's got WinBIOS on it with the skull and crossbones antivirus icon. Okay, so I guess now I'll fabricable a battery. I'm gonna just do some ultra temporary thing. But yeah, it's looking good so far. Okay, on the battery front, here's where we're at. This motherboard is kind of strange. Usually motherboards have a header for an external CMOS battery, and they usually have some switching circuitry or diode devilry around here to prevent voltage from backflowing, because the Varta batteries are always getting charged, and most external batteries are not rechargeable. But this board has no such functionality. There's this header here, but as far as I can tell, it does not appear to be for an external battery. Looks like it's just the board's CMOS reset functionality thing. So rather than risk jamming voltage in random places, I just went ahead and tapped where the Varta battery terminals were connected. And since I'm terminally unprepared, I just used a regular CR2032 battery holder. And charge protection is provided by this random Schottky diode. I don't even know its value, I just know it has the correct characteristics. I just snipped it off an old power supply. It works fine. And this can provide charge protection for keeping the CR2032 from exploding. Alright, so before I go ahead and lock all this down, let's go ahead and test it. Okay, here's the second power on test. Very good. Alright, let's see if it'll hold some settings. Guess I'll just go ahead and set the date and time, since it thinks it's 1980. Let's see, what year is it? 2025, right? Oh, you can't use number keys? What the? How about the number pad? No? What the bloody bollocks? Let's see with the numlock on. No. Oh, that's annoying. Okay. They were gonna make me plus and minus through this, I guess. All the way. Didn't think about us future people. And time, I'm not even gonna mess with the time. The date's gonna be enough. Get out here, save and exit. See that it's still happy. And that sound is the RAM tick counting. Alright, beep beep, probably because we don't have a hard drive controller, and it's waiting for that to freak out. Okay, maybe this thing really hates not having a hard drive controller, because it's not doing anything. Won't continue. I guess I'll go ahead and throw that on there, just so we can proceed. Shut this down. Let's just run some deoxit through those connectors. And get that on there. Those VLB connectors are so tough. I'm actually gonna have to pull that back out, put it back in, so the work the deoxit in just a little. Let's see if that's any happier. Okay, so it's still hanging for an unreasonable amount of time. So more than likely it's not going to be happy until it has disk drives connected. And I should have zeroed out those configurations while I was in there, but oh well. I'll just go ahead and shut it down for 10 minutes and see if it holds its settings. Okay, we've been powered off for like 10 or 12 minutes now. Let's see. Do we still have settings? So you should be able to just get into setup like that. That's how you hurry up the RAM count. All right, standard date and time. Yep, kept our settings. Very good. So we can go ahead and lock this thing down. First, let's cover up our diode. And now I need to cover up all those traces I exposed, as well as help lock down the bodge wires. I'll keep them from shifting around. And I'll do that with some UV curing solder mask. And mind you, I have no interest on making this look good. As long as it works, that's all I care about. Now let's get that under some UV light to cure. Yeah, real high tech here. Okay, that should be all done now. Now I'll just take some hot glue and lock these wires down. And I got the back side of the board done too. Yeah, I know it looks horrible. I don't care. As long as it works. Okay, I think we're finally done with the motherboard. Okay, time to deal with this massacre. I'll start by getting that floppy drive carcass out of there. You know, what kind of a person would do something like this? At least the CD-ROM drive seems to have been spared. And now you can hopefully see just how tweaked up this drive cage is. It's pretty bad. I'm gonna have to actually get it out of here, so I gotta get the faceplate off. Luckily on this case, that's only 6 screws away. Yeah, and good thing I took that off because we got some case corrosion down here, so I'll be able to clean that up. Now let's get that drive cage out finally. Kind of tweaked in there. Okay, I'm just going to try to bend this back by hand as much as I can. See if I don't break the other pinch welds. Actually, we're gonna have to go beyond. Okay, now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna secure this because I don't have a pinch welder. So I guess I'll try a rivet gun, assuming I still have one of those. Okay, good news, I still have a rivet gun. Now let's go ahead and drill some rivet holes. There we go. See if that rivet even fits in there. No, just a little bit too big. That means we have to go oversize on the drill bit. At least it'll be easy to embiggen the hole. That's better. Let's rivet it up. Yeah, that'll do. Now I'll just do the same thing for the other 2 spot welds. We should be good. Okay, now I gotta bead out this part that they bead in here, because it's gonna interfere with drives. It's a good thing I have auto body tools for some reason. And that was the most this hammer has ever been used. Okay, let's take it for a test drive. Perfect. I did have to pound those rivets flat, but that wasn't too hard. They're very soft aluminum. Now let's just straighten this out. We'll be done with this. Should be just a matter of some plier fiddling. Let's see if we're proper up there. Yep, good enough. These are just for mounting an extra internal hard drive or something. Okay, now let's try to knock this corrosion off with a wire brush. See how far that gets us. Gee, when did this become a metalworking channel? Okay, now let's just give it a wee kiss of self-etching primer. Just stop that rust from coming back. Yeah, and turns out there was a whole bunch of other corrosion spots that I've wire brushed and painted also. Now I gotta wait for this thing to dry. Smells lovely in here. Okay, now I need to get rid of these rust stains on the bottom of the faceplate. Although they're not visible to the world, but they are visible to my soul. So we need to get them gone. Let's start with the basics. The Windex. Okay, it's kind of working. And corners are hard to get to. Yeah, I'm gonna need something more powerful to get the rest of this rust. I'm gonna try our old friend CLR. Sure taking its time to work in, but it is coming off. Alright, this is gonna have to be clean enough. Gotta move on. And since we're here, might as well clean the rest of this up. Looks like it's just those usual scuffs. Oop. It is never easy to clean inside these slats. And the magic eraser should make short work of these scuffs. Hopefully. Yeah, it's coming right off. Alright, this thing looks great. It really was just scuffy. There's no real nicks or scratches anywhere, save for a few very light ones on the face up here. Alright, feeling even better about this thing. Now let's see if this whack job damaged the hard drive. Actually, doesn't look like it. Yeah, I don't think it got through. Although I see a little bit of there's some scuffage on these solder joints. It doesn't look like it actually broke anything. I think we might have lucked out. Guess they just didn't go deep enough. I guess I should pound this out too. Okay, that should do. As long as it's well away from the circuit board. That's all I care about. And speaking of that hard drive, it's a Western Digital Caviar, 540 megabytes, manufactured February 1995. And upon closer inspection, I did find some damage on the board from whatever dumbass beat this thing. You've got a damaged SMD resistor there, or what I assume is a resistor. Gonna have to see if I have anything to replace that with. There's probably a pretty good chance. First, let's get it off there. Let's flux you. Let's see if hitting one side's enough. The other one's pretty broken. Yep, came right off. Oh, alright, I know this looks stupid, but it's the best I can do in a pinch. That was just a 100k ohm resistor, and I didn't have an SMD equivalent, so the through hole will have to do. And looking closely at this, I realized just how lucky I got, because this was the main impact point here. You can see how the solder balls on these test points are smashed down. Yeah, super lucky there weren't more components in this area, because that would have been very bad. This one here got just a little bit of it, but it's still fine. Well, let's hope there's not more on the other side. Oh, and in case you're wondering, That resistor does sit below the body of the drive, so we don't have to worry about it shorting out or anything. It just sits a little teeny tiny bit higher than that screw, but nah, should be no trouble at all. And here's the only drive that seemed to escape the wrath of the dumbass. The Sony CDU-55E, manufactured September 1994. Interesting how all these components are so close in age. I wonder if they're Pionex original. Let's wipe that dust off. And something tells me the usual clean and grease won't do much good for this floppy drive. It is now a monument to misguided rage. I wonder if they thought they were doing data destruction or something. Yeah, I can't even tell what kind of floppy drive that was. But at least this adapter bracket's still good. And that power supply was not spared. And it's too bad because it's a nice one, made by Antec. And it actually has a temperature-controlled fan, which is pretty rare for an AT power supply. Now my suspicion is it's probably okay. It probably isn't much directly under this metal with that amount of space. Let's get it open and see. And that will, of course, involve voiding that warranty. Hope Antec's not watching. I think that got it, yeah. By the way, don't try this at home. Power supplies are dangerous, and they will shock you, even if they've been unplugged for a while. So don't do this. And yeah, we're unscathed. And actually, pretty clean in there. Ain't too dusty. Let's give it a test. Alright, the sacrificial hard drives are ready to go. And yeah, I haven't fixed those cut wires yet. Doesn't matter right now though. Let's see what it does. Alright, no complaints so far. Let's check the 5-volt rail. And that's good. I'm just going to monitor 12 volts. And we'll see how it goes. Alright, it's been 5 minutes. We're doing fine. As suspected, good old Antec. Yeah, I thought I was done with the body work, but I wasn't. Alright, got her all patched up. Still a little bit dented, but it's not going to hurt anything. Okay, now let's do something about our injured sound card. I do not have a replacement for this jack, so I'm just going to remove it. It's just a line import, so I'm not going to be needing it anytime soon. And I don't have another Sound Blaster type card that I'm willing to sacrifice. At least not yet. And it looks like the mic jack might be gone too. It's pretty broken. I thought it would just push back down, but it's being awfully resistant. I think I'll just pull both of these off. Yeah, I sure hope you guys like soldering because this video's got so much of it. And I'm just gonna flow some low melt desoldering alloy in there. That's one down. I have a feeling this one's going to come off in sections. Yep, 2 separate sections. And I left behind that little front anchor thing. That'll be easier to pull out from the top. Now, clean up, clean up. This sound card is now output only, at least until I find replacement jacks. Alright kids, we're finally going to get some answers. Let's see if that Western Digital Caviar survived, along with everything else. Ah, we don't have a display. What's going on with that? Oh, and anger. Maybe that video card's not seated correctly. Though it did the RAM count, so obviously not the motherboard. Now, I know I reconnected that display. Alright, let's do some troubleshooting. Okay, I gave that video card a couple of shoves. I also reversed the power lead for the display, because apparently that was backwards. And it was obviously like that before, because I put it back on the way it came off. So hopefully it's not dead. Let's see. Hey, it works! Let's see, we get turbo digit switching? Yes, we do! We even get turbo light. Look at that. Let's see. That doesn't change the RAM count speed. But yeah, we got a display now. There's one thing I'm not hearing. It's the hard drive. Wonder what's up with that. I see the hard drive LED is lit. Maybe I did the flipperoo on that cable. I was sure I was careful with that. Let's rule that out. Yeah, I always make pin 1 the one with the red lead. Let's just go ahead and disconnect it for now. Sometimes old drives won't even spin up if they're flipped. Let's see. No, that thing's not spinning. What's up with that? Well, let's pull it out and put it on the bench. See if I can get it to live. Okay, I've got it connected to a power supply with nothing else. Let's see. Yeah, no spin at all. And I can feel the disc. It is spinning in there, or it is like not stuck. So let's pop that board off. Let's see, our impact zone was here, so I don't see any damage. Unless these little fingers aren't making good contact there. It looks like a couple of them are like down or flat. They're supposed to be springy. That would definitely stop the motor from turning if they weren't making contact. Let's try to spring the thing those back up. Easier done than said. Let's get a needle or something. Alright, let's try this. There we go. That's sharp enough to get under there. Just give me a little bit of spring the thing action. This one's like completely flat. Alright. If those are proud enough to make contact now. They have a great sound. Let's see. This foam back in place. Get that thing back on and hope that that bearing isn't damaged. Yeah, it is directly under that impact point. Ooh, hold on. Hey, this foam on wrong. How in the devil did I? Okay, it was like that. Now let's see. Powering on. No, that wasn't it. I'm going to try to just squeeze the board a little. It's not helping. Oh, there it is. Yeah, spun right up. But that probably means I have to make some more adjustments to those little spring fingers. Well, let's gently put it back down and see if it'll handle power cycle. Maybe I just had to knock some corrosion or something off. And that's a no. Okay, can I get it to come back to life like I did? In my healing hands? Nope. Healing hands ain't healing this time. No, there it is. Yeah, every time I put a little bit of pressure there, it spins right up. Alright, so I'm just gonna adjust those fingers. Do that off camera. Well, I determined that those springs just aren't springy anymore. And in fact, when I tried to pull them back up to their correct height, one of them broke, just I guess from metal fatigue. So, I'm thinking, they have a sacrificial hard drive here. I'm pretty sure it has these same types of spindle finger things. So after all those years of sacrifice for testing all of those power supplies, I guess this is how it ends. Let's start the transplant. Yeah, it's got those same types of fingers, and they are so much more stood up than those. Well, it's got to be done. I almost want to cry. This drive has served us so well. But you know, I could just take some wires and bridge them across. It is a sacrificial hard drive after all. It's just being sacrificed in a different way. Let's go. Okay, they actually lift off pretty easily. Yeah, sorry, the camera's got to be a little incidental in this situation because I'm going to get kind of up close and personal with this. Okay, that's all the sacrificial fingers successfully transferred. Let's hope it's not for nothing. Let's see. Oh yeah. And that's even a good initialization sound. Think we did it. The sacrificial hard drive sacrifice came in handy. It shall not be forgotten for helping its stricken Western digital brethren. Yeah, who am I kidding? I fixed the sacrificial hard drive too. Notice the magnet wire sticking out? We are now directly wired. Let's see if it works. Yeah, you're not getting out of this that easily, old sacrificial hard drive. You shall barely live to click another day. Alright, let's get on with it. Oh, there's that hard drive spinning. And there's that video card complaint again. What's up with that? I guess I gotta drown that thing in deox. One moment. Okay, once again for I don't even remember how many times. Let's go. Alright, we're good now. Alright, let's get into setup. See if it recognized my serial mouse. Yes, it did. Alright, let's see if that hard drive supports auto detection. And it sure does. Yes, indeed. Now, the other thing I have to do is I gotta zero out the floppy configuration because I don't have one on there. And I don't want it sitting there forever doing nothing. Not installed. And also B is not installed. Good, good. I'm sure it didn't detect the slave disk. Good, good. Alright. So that hard drive sounds pretty healthy. Let's see if it boots. Save and exit. And we detected primary master. It sounds like it's booting. And yep, sure is. And there's that Sony CD-ROM drive driver. vSafe. vSafe, that rings a bell. What? Oh, it's going to Windows 3.1. For work groups. And it's got chimes. Ooh, what is this? Quicken. There's nothing wrong with this missing. Let's see if my mouse works. Yes, it does. Alright. Whatever that is. Barbie fashion designer. Yeah, why not? Oh yeah, it probably definitely needs a CD. Could have guessed that. Oh, I'm not ready. Go away. Come back. What else is on here? Jeez, what isn't on here? Let's see, what was the learning company, old Mr. Wonderful's company. I bet every single one of these requires a CD. Let's see, Treasure Math Storm. Ooh, maybe? Oh, yep, needs a CD. Ah, go away. Just go. And yeah, the rest of these do too. This is looking like some kind of school computer? That's interesting. Maybe. Audio applications, eh? What kind of audio? Media rack. What is that? Oh, this! I remember this! Yeah, it's a MIDI player. See if there's anything loaded. It's playing nothing. Let's see, can I open a MIDI file? stop that. That's very loud. I'm not sure if it's copyrighted. Alright, well, MIDI works. What else is in that audio folder? Voice Sentry. What the? Train voice key. Huh, interesting. So it's like a voice-based password thing. I'm sure that's super secure. Wow, I just axed the microphone port, so we're not going to be able to use this. Wind chime. What on earth could that be? It's a MIDI mapper thing. How do we play or do stuff? Okay, I have no earthly clue what this is for. Let's get out of here. CD player, that's pretty self-explanatory. Talking clock. Yeah, it's not doing much talking. Say time.
Time is 7:48 p.m.
Whoa. That's actually not a bad text-to-speech thing for the time.
Time is 7:48 p.m.
Sounds somewhat human. Huh, that's cool. Presto Arranger. Is that some kind of ancient Fruity Loops? Maybe. Oh, this is cool. How do you... There's gotta be a way to set, like, beats and stuff. Oh, that was fast. End of song. No idea how to use this. Can't click and drag notes. No, that's not how it works. Something like this. Let's just do end of song. Okay. Oh, perhaps I have to record. That was beautiful. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so here's my dumbass clicking the keys. Obviously, we can use the keyboard. I love this. This makes me unreasonably happy. Alright, let's get out of here before I spend a half an hour in it. Don't save that masterpiece. Karaoke control. You don't want to hear me sing. Okay. It's literally just karaoke control. That's weird. System mixer. Softly advanced to Windows 3.1. I've seen this before sometime in the very distant past. Let's see, wave editor A. Is that just that basic? No, it's a more advanced version of whatever I was thinking of. Oh, so we're not going to be able to record anything with all of our inputs dead. Okay, at least get some noise. Huh, sure can. Let's see if we can zoom in on the noise. This is pretty crazy to be running on Windows 3.1. This is almost like an Audacity type program. No idea such things was possible. It's very slow though, my god. That is so cool. Let's not save that. Uh-oh. Did we freeze? Dun dun dun! That's not good. Can we continue? I think we might be hooped. Or maybe not. Let's see, wave player. Maybe that hard drive just quit on us. At least get the talking clock back. Yeah, that's memory resident. How about the MIDI player? That's not looking good. Let's get out of here. Let's actually exit Windows. See what version of DOS we're working with. Oh yeah, that's big time problems. I have to reboot. And I give you my sacrificial hard drive motor fingers. Yeah, we're locked up. Gotta reboot. Okay, well, it seems to be rebooting fine. Okay, so we're back to the start. Let's get back to what I wanted to do and get back to DOS. Ew, what in the bloody hell is this? Diagnosing drive C? I didn't even ask for that. Isn't this, what? This is Norton Utilities, isn't it? That tickled some very distant brain cells. Yeah, it is. Norton Utilities 8.0. Interesting. Okay, what version of DOS is this? 6.2. Do we have ScanDisk in 6.2? Let's see. Apparently so. Let's see what it thinks. I swear that nothing about that disk sounds bad. Yeah, let's do a surface scan. Hopefully it'll be quick. Only 540 megabyte drive. Yeah, that ain't gonna be quick. Oh, have we found something? Or did we lock up? Yeah, I think we froze. Yeah, we sure did. Well, let's hit it with another reboot, I guess. Okay, so this time I'm just gonna see how far we get until it dies again. I'm guessing that hard drive just isn't that healthy. What is Super Voice? Kind of voicemail program? Well, it would appear so. How about that? Do we have any voice messages? Guess not. Doesn't look like anybody ever used it. Huh. Interesting. And there's our disk fault again. Guess there's just too much wrong with that one. Continue. So yeah, we're pretty much screwed now. Can we at least see what individual software was? Resume Maker requires a CD. Anytime for Windows. What on earth was that? Well, obviously I'm not going to be able to see it. We're frozen. Also, the working directory is invalid. Yeah, sure, that sounds like disk failure shenanigans. Excuses, excuses. What kind of tools did we have? All the usual stuff. I am curious what was in network. There was definitely no NIC in this thing. Just had a dial-up modem. I guess they were going online at some point. Yeah, I want to peek in that mailbox. Might give this thing another reboot. Yeah, let's hit it. Okay, we're back. For now, let's get in that mailbox. It looks like it's unused. Yep. Aw. Oh well. Let's see, what is Watchtower Library? Oh, that requires a CD. Yep. Cancel. Alright. What is on the root of this drive? Where is File Manager? I swear I can never remember. It's been so long. Actually, let's just drop down the DOS mode. See if this survives the other incursion with Norton Utilities. Let's see, what's on here? Does that say fun games? Let's see, it's cut off. Ah, maybe fun game? Guess not. Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering something. Or did we just die again? Oh, they must have. Alright, we're back, but for how long? Back down to DOS. Let's see, what are the chances that the CD-ROM drive works? Oh, at least it lazily opens. And I'm not even going to begin to ask this thing to read a CDR, so let's go straight for CD. I think that got assigned D drive. Oh, look at that, it works! Old reliable Sony. Survived all these years and the wrath of a lunatic. Let's go back to C drive, assuming we still have a C drive. Maybe it's still working. I know there's a more flag. Yeah. Oh, it's Fun Game Space CD. What? That's stupid. How is that even possible? It's a directory with a file extension. I'm so confused. Look at these timestamps, though. All the way up to 2000. Wonder if those are legit. Wasn't even thinking to pay attention to those. Alright, so December of 2000 is the latest. I think a hard drive just died again. Alright, that thing clearly wants to be put out of its misery. Let's leave it alone. Suppose I should get my disk back. Wow, I didn't realize this thing would need that much repair. We had bodywork, trace repair, hard drive fingers, rust removal. This thing had it all. But I'm definitely not complaining. It's good to break it up a little bit. You know, sometimes I get kind of bored when they come in and they just work. Where's the fun in that? And this channel is made possible by these lovely people, the patrons and channel supporters. Yep, keeping the whole thing going they are. I appreciate them, and I appreciate you. Thanks for watching.